Okay, welcome to the channel. I just wanted to go over some trades that happened this morning. Now there was a couple of them. One of them is the SONN. SONN showed up on the relative volume scanner. That's when the volume is greater than the previous volume, like at least a minimum of 5 times. And it does it on the 1 minute. So we had it right up in here, and then we had it again right here. So the volume started picking up on the 1 minute, and it showed up on the relative volume movers, like these right here, JUNS. We have RVOL of 23, CELU, and RVOL of 13. But right now the market is open, and it's like 12:22. I just don't trade until I just don't trade after 11 o'clock. There's no need. I try to make my money in the morning before the market even opens. So right here, it showed up on the relative volume movers, which is right here. This window right here that I have, this is for the biggest movers. I usually like keeping this up when the market is open. So let's go over the trades here. If you jump over to the 15-second chart, you'll notice that we started moving up, and we were on the 2-minute candle. We had a micro pullback right here, and that micro pullback was with a little bit of volume, but I was thinking if we could break the high there, that we would be able to get it going. So we did break the high, and then we had another little micro pullback, but the volume just wasn't there. It was kind of drying up. So you could have gotten on a micro pullback here, or gotten in on this trade when it pulled back, and then it popped above this area, which right now you would have gotten like 50 cents on that. And then you could have just ride it up and got yourself a few dollar move. That was a really decent trade. Now, I did get in on this trade. The thing is, I did not get this big pop right here, because when it came back here and I got in, and then it started coming back, I got out, and then once it popped this, then it popped, and then I started riding it up here, and then I got out at about a few dollars, but I missed this whole move right here. So you win some, you lose some, it doesn't matter. And you also got another micro pullback right up in here on a 15-second chart. You could have gotten in on this as well, because that right there was this little pullback on the 1 minute, and this was an inside bar candle. You could have gotten in on the break of that and gotten yourself about $2. The thing about the SONN, it had a pretty high spread, more than what I normally like. And when I do trade stuff like that, I just don't trade it with high volume. I just kind of keep the volume kind of light. Okay, so the next trade was DARE. DARE showed up on the relative volume scanner, because right here, these two candles started coming in with volume. The first 1 minute was like 88,000 compared to like 300, 700, 2,000. So we had quite a bit of volume coming in, and the 2nd-minute candle even had more volume. And then we started pulling back here. And if you look at the 15-second, once we started pulling back, with heavy volume. So I just didn't get in on it. And then we kind of broke below the VWAP. And then we had somewhat like a doji there, and then we started right up in here. We had that doji, but then it started picking up volume here. So I was thinking if we get the break of that high, then that will be good. And then what we did was, once we got that break, you were risking about $1.20. So you were risking about $1, and we got the break, and it ran up, and then once it ran up to around $2. Then it started retracing back, and what I did was I just went on ahead and got out. So I went on ahead and just got out I got out. Once it starts retracing about half, I just get out completely. You can always get back in, and that's exactly what happened right here on a 15-second chart. Because with these, you cannot hold them hoping that you're going to get $2, $3, $4, $5. You're going to make 500% move. You can't do that. You got to get your money and get out. Because so many times I see a pop right here and it just slams right back down, and you're losing the money. Also, another thing, when you're trading pre-market, you got to be really careful when you have volume coming in right here and it starts retracing back. You got to get out, because you cannot use market orders. When you're in pre-market, you got to use limit orders. You got to use these mental stops. You have to use a mental stop. And there's been a couple times when I got a pop and I should have sold it into that pop, and then it started retracing and I could not get out. And then I'm just sitting there hitting my hotkey trying to get out, and then I end up with either a break even or a loser. So you got to sell into these pops. Now, I didn't do that on this one because we had some really nice volume coming in and I thought we would take off, and we started retracing, so I just started getting out. Now, we had a micro pullback, and right up in here, as you can see here, the 1 minute, we just pulled back and then we started going again. And if you look at the 5 minute, the 5 minute right here was looking good. We were just running up. So what happened was, right there on that micro pullback, get in here, you put your stop down here for about 75 cents. And then once you got that pop, I sold it like right here, right up in here. I sold half, and then I got the pop and it started retracing, and then I just got back out. So that's what you have to do with these. You get this break here, you get a micro pullback on the 15-second. You're looking at the 1 minute. The 1 minute you retraced back. The 5 minute is still bullish. We're not making lower lows on the 5 minute. We're not making lower lows on a 1 minute. So run with the momentum. So jump into a 15-second chart. The reason I use the 15-second chart is because during pre-market, these things move fast. So once you have a stock that's moving fast, you want to look at the 15-second. If there's no volume coming in and it's not moving fast, then there's no reason to look at a 15-second. But when you're moving with volume on a 1 minute, you can look at a 15, 20-second chart, like 10, 15, 20-second chart. You get that micro pullback, you get that pop right there, and you sell into the pop. And that's what you need to do. You need to sell into the pop. Now, right here, these R-vol movers right here, these, we have XTIA with news, but I'm just not going to trade anything. I don't need to. Made the money in the morning and just move on. So that was DARE. Now, did it move without me and just keep going? Yeah. Do I care? No, because I made my money and I moved on. So I sell into the pop and I ride with the momentum. Okay, so next trade we're going to look at is GNLN. This is the 1 minute. As you can see right here, the 1 minute, it popped up on the relative volume movers. This right here, the relative volume movers, looks at volume, and the R-vol is how much it is from like the previous volume. Now, they all went off because the volume is just drying up for them and they just collapsed. So, but GNLN popped up right here. We're looking at 111,000 volume, and then the rest of these are like 100, 200, 3,000, 1,000, 600. So when you get 100,000 volume, that's high volume from the previous. Because if you look at this, it just doesn't move. But when it pops up on my R-vol movers scanner, this window right here, when it popped up on there, and it is on my radar now. So now what I have to do is I bring it up on the chart and I look at GNLN. Sure enough, it's popping. And I don't know if it had news or not. I'm not sure. But as you can see here, once it starts popping right here, and you want to, I didn't get this. I kind of missed it because right here, it pops up here. So you want to get in here. Here is where it's going to show up. But you're not going to get this micro pullback here, but here is where it showed up on the 1 minute, because we're looking at a 15-second chart. So what I was thinking, this wasn't a big winner. What I was thinking is we had a micro pullback, but the volume was kind of heavy. And then we had like a hammer right here and was holding VWAP. And I was thinking, okay, if we can get like a 2-bar break with volume, we could be good. The volume started picking up. We got the high of that, which I did not get in because I didn't trust this volume, but the second bar volume was kind of drying up. I was like, okay, so if we pop this high, I could possibly get in for a short run. Sure enough, it popped it. It came up here for about 50 cents. I didn't get that because once it popped it and then started coming back here, I just went on ahead and got out. It was like a 20-cent trade. It wasn't very much, but sure enough, it did move. It popped that and it did move up to 75 cents, but I just didn't trust it because it was the level 2. There was some selling coming in here. So I tried it, didn't work, made a little bit of change, not much, but I moved on. And sure enough, as you can see, you never want to overstay your welcome. This thing popped. You're not going to get this whole move right here. What you're looking for is to get a micro pullback, maybe get a pop, try to get yourself maybe 10, 20 cents, and then move on. I was playing this because I was thinking, okay, 5 1/4, maybe we can get to 5 1/2. And usually when you get to 5 1/2 and you got some volume, it'll run to 6, which it did. But I got out and I just didn't like the volume coming in. So I just got out. Sure enough, it did pop again. And right up in here, we had the volume. We had a micro pullback with the volume, lower volume. Could have got in on that pop right there. Probably get yourself about 40 cents on that. But never overstay your welcome, because look at this. This thing just ripped down. I mean, look at that 1 minute candle. As soon as it broke that low, it just slammed right down. I mean, that just slammed right down to about $1.90, $2. This is why you want to sell into the pops. When it's breaking that high and it pops up to here, you want to be selling up in here. You don't want to try to be holding this and be like, oh, I think it's going to break. It's going to break. And all of a sudden it starts dumping down. And let's say you're in on this thing with about 5,000 shares. There's not enough people that want to buy this piece of crap that is dumping down. So you're going to be stuck with it. That's why you want to look to see if the volume's coming in, because when it pops, you can sell into that volume. Let the other people hold the bag on this stock. You shouldn't do it. You should get your money and move on. Okay, the last stock I'm going to go over is AIFF. Now, it showed up on the relative volume scanner because, as you can see here, we had a nice little pop up here, and then we started pulling back. Now, right up in here, we had the pop, and then I didn't get in this because the volume was just kind of like, it wasn't there. The volume was moving down, and as we popped up here, we popped up. I did not get in on that pop, and then we just started grinding down. So then I was thinking, okay, maybe right up in here, as you can see, the volume kind of dried up. I was thinking, okay, we're holding this. It's moving up. We're getting micro pullback, so I'm going to buy it right up in here, because it's like a little inside bar, and you see this green right here, volume was coming in. So what I did was I went on ahead and bought it here, right up in here. I was thinking we're going to have a winner. It's going to start moving now. And then sure enough, it just started coming back down. And when it came back down, I tried to get out, and I just took a small loss. So, you know, that's fine, because I had 2 good winners. SONN and DARE was 2 good winners. So a small loss for this is no big deal. And that was it. Those are 4 trades for today.